Welcome to Soccer in 60, presented by the Empire Strykers. Get ready for your weekly look at all the pro soccer teams in Greater Los Angeles. We've got all the news and analysis you need, from LAFC and the LA Galaxy to the Empire Strykers, Angel City FC, and Orange County Soccer Club. Now, buckle up and enjoy Soccer in 60.
Welcome indeed to the fastest paced soccer podcast in Southern California. This is Soccer in 60, brought to you by SAC Health System, of course, covering all the week's news, highlights, and more from LAFC, the Galaxy, Angel City FC, Orange County Soccer Club, and of course, the Major Arena Soccer League's very own Empire Strykers. Hello and welcome. I'm J.R. Liebert, affectionately still known as your friendly neighborhood scarf, and it is so good to be back alongside my man, Timmy K. What do you say, Tim Kolotz?
JR, my friend, I'm doing well this week. Great to have you as part of the show. The sun is shining. El Tráfico was excellent as always. And as we talked about last week, speed rules the day for Orange County. We've got a great show today, everybody. We've got a great interview with Angel City, Evelyn Shores. This is going to be great. Creative director Gunnar pulled that one off on the fly. And then we had the MLS All-Star game as well, Scarf. It's been a great week so far.
It's been a great week. The MLS All-Star game, Denny Bawanga showing up and showing out there for LAFC. El Tráfico, if you're a neutral, was probably the most entertaining match that you will ever see this season. Absolutely unbelievable. And who would have thought Evelyn Shores, her signing with Angel City may just be the third coolest thing that she's ever done. So you got to stick around for an incredible interview with Evelyn Shores. A fantastic job there by Gunnar. Look, we've got our read with Omnitrans. Let's make sure we pay our bills and hear from our good friends over at Omnitrans. In partnership with the Empire Strykers, experience the thrill of game day with Omnitrans. Be in the heart of the action at Toyota Arena and let Omnitrans take care of the ride. Simply download the Transit app to catch your bus and enjoy a stress-free trip to cheer on the Empire Strykers. Don't miss out on the excitement and make every moment count at Toyota Arena. Ride with Omnitrans for your next Empire Strykers game. Speaking of games, if you are a neutral, this El Tráfico, the 26th edition of El Tráfico, was no doubt one of the most entertaining matches that you will ever see. A 3-3 thriller, thanks to a goal at the death by Maya Yoshida. We'll talk about that more for Galaxy fans a little bit later. But Tim, we both watched this game from different spots, but I don't imagine you stayed on your seat any more than I did. An incredible 3-3 matchup.
It was incredible from the word go, right? From the opening whistle of the referee to the final one that was just a death knell for LAFC fans. It was incredible. I mean, you got two goals right away, right within the first 31 minutes. And then you've got like you said, at the death in the 97th minute after a late red card in stoppage time by Eddie Segura, which pushes from 5-7 because you got to figure out some shenanigans. And I think that this was one of the greatest games of the season so far. And MLS as a whole has just got to be excited beyond belief that it was this good of a game, considering where the two teams are in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, far more entertaining than the MLS All-Star game, which just finished. Look, one team battling for playoff positioning with aspirations of overtaking San Diego and Vancouver in LAFC. You've got the wooden spoon in sight, unfortunately, for LA Galaxy fans this season. They're in a battle for the bottom. A match like this really does tend to change the fortunes of a club. If they're looking for something positive, if you're the Galaxy, you likely found it. If you're looking for reasons to continue to question whether you can close out the Galaxy or not, you certainly found plenty of those for LAFC. But here's the big thing. If you're Don Garber, you are ecstatic. You had your Hollywood scriptwriters at it again. The stars show out. Denny Bawanga with a brace. Gabriel Peck with a brace. You had fireworks both on the pitch and in the locker room, and Eddie Segura chokehold. I mean, you name it. This was a Hollywood match in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah, you were looking at it was almost like a four-figure leg lock, but on the guy's throat on this one. Eddie Segura, what are you doing? You've got this game not in the bag, but in the last 10, 12 games, the Galaxy have only won twice at BMO, and you guys are on the precipice of winning the game 3-2, and then you do some stupid stuff. I'll just say it out loud that it was just kind of dumb, right?
Yeah.
And then it gives a couple of minutes, and then like you said, Scarf, this could not have been a better game for the league, for the Galaxy to move that momentum. But again, El Tráfico, and if you listen to the announcers talking about this, they said it within the first 5 minutes, after the second goal, they go, well, you never know what's going to happen, and run of form does not matter in this game. 10 minutes later, it's 2-1. Then it's incredible.
You hear the old sports cliche, you can throw out the records when these two teams meet. It's true. I will challenge any soccer pundit to come up with a better rivalry in the United States. We know about Seattle and Portland, and you want to try to make Red Bulls and NYCFC a thing. The hell is real in the South there. But I'm just saying there's nothing more exciting than an El Tráfico. And here's the odd part of it all, right? You have LAFC and all of their players who are understandably completely dejected about this result. But even Marco Reus and Maya Yoshida after the match, when they're interviewed about it, they said, yeah, but you know what? We can't let ourselves get down 2-0 the way that we did. We can't give up these mistakes to let Denis Bouanga go running right down Broadway and put one in the back of the net the way they did. And what I really like about that for the Galaxy is that you've got their two biggest veteran voices, right? Saying, sure, we got a point, but we can't be happy there if we're going to turn things around.
Yeah, and they shouldn't be happy. The way they played over the past 7-8 games, and the way Royce and his 29-year-old legs are pushing through that 36-year-old, 35-year-old body, it's unbelievable. The guy's got 13 goal contributions in his last 14 games. You can't go down 2-0 to anybody, much less your rival. And they should be disappointed with the way they played. They did come back. They've started to see that second half team that they took last year on the way to the cup. But the reality is you should have lost that game, even though you had multiple chances to win it. But you should have lost that game 3-2 or 4-2. You really should have for the Galaxy. And that, unfortunately, for LAFC, the Galaxy figured it out. They played spectacular in that second half, especially the last 35 minutes. They played far better than they did in the first 55. And to be able to put on that type of show, it just proves the mettle of, they're having a wooden spoon type of season, but nobody's given up on that team. And you would see some teams roll over and play turtle.
No, you're absolutely right. And something we'll talk about once we get to our LAFC segment in just a minute. The third goal scored by LAFC is Javier Del Rosa, and maybe giving John Thorrington and company there in the front office something to think about. In fact, let's unpack this a little bit from an LAFC supporter's point of view. Tim, up 2 goals on 2 separate occasions. You mentioned it already. They race out to a 2-0 lead. Halftime, Galaxy able to claw one back off of a very silly penalty shot given up by Ryan Hollingshead. Not sure what his hand was doing all the way up here while he's chasing a guy down inside the box to the touchline like that. But let's talk real quick about some questions on the front line for LAFC in that Javier Del Rosa, having his loan extended from Club America, not by a month or 6 months or a year, but by 1 day. The international transfer window opening up in Major League Soccer on the 24th, which means his contract is supposed to be up, but LAFC negotiating with Club America to push that loan until after the 25th so that he can play against Portland. We've seen him score a couple of goals now in the last few games, and perhaps really giving that front office, Tim, something to think about in terms of extending that loan or purchasing outright.
Yeah, and I think they need to really take a longer look at him. He's played very well since he's been on loan from Club America. He's got a couple of goals. He's got a goal in El Tráfico, which is, again, it's the biggest game in the league twice a year. And with the absence of non-goal scoring Olivier Giroud, you now have somebody that is scoring, right? And I think with DeRozan coming in and playing the way he has, getting that extra day, I think the front office they may be ready to write a check. Don't you think, Scarf?
Look, the problem, I think, with it, right, was that the check was going to be pretty big. And I don't know that he had come in and set it on fire the way that, same thing with Cengiz Under, right? Cengiz Under didn't come in and set the world on fire. So they weren't ready to pay that check to the club. But I think the same thing is going on with Javier DeRozan. I think that Club America would be happy to find a price that works out for both clubs in order to move a little bit away from Javier DeRozan. But that being said, what I think it also speaks to real quick, Tim, is the lack of production and maybe the lack of maturity and poise that we sometimes see from the mercurial wonderkind from Venezuela, David Martinez. Look, we've heard time and time again, Tim, right, that best prospect out of Venezuela, he's going to be an incredible winger. We just really haven't seen that from David Martinez this season. I don't even think, Tim, they're thinking about extending DeRozan if they got what they should have from David Martinez.
I'm right there with you, because if they had gotten what they wanted, what they truly expected out of David Martinez, DeRozan might not have ever come on loan, right? I mean, this is something that he might not even be in the conversation, much less sitting on the field playing, getting tons and tons of playing time. Yeah. If Martinez had come in and, like you say, lit the place on fire, or at least got a little spark or two, maybe this is a different conversation. But but with DeRozan staying through the pesky pine trees game, this is a big conversation that the senior officers of LAFC are going to be having over the weekend.
Yeah, no Eddie Segura for that match against the Portland Timbers at BMO on Friday because of the late red card, which led to an extra couple minutes of stoppage time. They did flash on the screen 5 minutes, but that was while the carnage was going on the opposite side of the pitch. So, look, we can argue whether or not there should have been a red card for Diego Fagundes or anybody else that was also involved. But what we know it led to was those extra couple of minutes. And Maya Yoshida, which we'll talk about in just a second on the other end of this segment, Maya Yoshida doesn't score that goal if not for Eddie Segura putting a chokehold on Diego Fagundes, or on, I think it was one of the other players. But by the way, he was coming to the aid of David Martinez, who got subbed in late on that one. Portland Timbers against LAFC on Friday, fresh off of what was a fantastic performance by Denis Bouanga in the All-Star game. He played about the first half hour, had a beautiful assist to Sam Surridge on their first goal of the game for MLS. Should have maybe scored one or two himself in those first 30 minutes. And then before they finished their MLS regular season, smack in the middle, hold on, it's Leagues Cup, and it's Mazatlan coming to BMO Stadium on Tuesday, the 29th. We know what we will get from the Portland Timbers coming into BMO Stadium. Mm-hmm. What are you expecting from this Leagues Cup run by LAFC, starting with Mazatlan on Tuesday?
I think Mazatlan is a very interesting team because you've got players that are going to be on some of the bigger stages that they will be on so far this season. By being in LA, by being on national TV, by being on that type of stage and showcasing themselves against one of what has been a premier team in the league since they've showed up, right? I think what you're going to see is you're going to have a very physical Mazatlan team come out right away and want to prove their worth against these guys and show that they do have stars on their team as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Steve Cherundolo decides to do with his roster, if they're going to rotate it for Leagues Cup or play with his best 11. We're going to talk about Soccer in 60's best 11 at the end of the show, but right now we're going to get into the Galaxy side of this El Tráfico result. Plus, we'll look ahead at their match against Houston Dynamo on Friday. But if you're the Galaxy, we mentioned before maybe Maya Yoshida, Marco Royce not super happy about the result at the end. Those are two veterans trying to keep the locker room in perspective, but I'm sorry. I was in BMO Stadium. I saw the reaction of all of the LA Galaxy fans that were in the building. It was as if they had taken all 3 points with that late goal by Maya Yoshida, 90th plus 7. It doesn't get much later than that. Tim, if you're a Galaxy supporter, what does that result do for maybe a little bit of hope for the playoffs or maybe just avoiding the wooden spoon? How are you feeling right now if you're a Galaxy supporter?
I think you have to look at this from a very clear perspective of how they've been playing over the last 7-8 games. You look at how Royce has really fit into the system, and he's healthy, right? Last year, he came in, he might not have been in the best shape. He might have been a little dinged up, and he came out this year. Again, it took him a few games to get rolling, but again, 13 goal contributions in his last 14 matches, ridiculous. He's been the man of the match for the Galaxy, and if he's not in the running for MVP of the room, I don't know who else you're going to put in there. But this is what they hope for. So the hope is that they can continue this second half playing as well as they have been, like they did last year, which took them all the way to the cup. But the reality is this: they're not getting 3 points in this game was almost a death blow, right? There's still 12 points out of the bottom playoff spot with only 10 games left.
Right.
You're going to have to win what, 8 of them minimum? I mean, you're going to have to come out with at least 24 points to even be close, because that'll put you at about 40. And then to do this, and 8 is the minimum, right?
Right. Right.
You know, we've been talking about this for weeks, Scarf, and I was on one of the Galaxy podcasts, and I was flat out no that they're not going to make the playoffs, and this was a detriment this past weekend. And the reality is such that, I mean, even if they win all 10 games, right, that's 30 points. That's 46 points in the standings. That's kind of the bottom edge of what it's been for the playoffs lately. And so if they lose another match or two, they will be mathematically eliminated, right?
No, look, it's a good old-fashioned 6-pointer taking on Houston on Friday, because that's one of the teams. I mean, everybody's ahead of them in the standings, but it's one of the teams that they've got to get to first before they get into those playoff standings, right? Houston Dynamo with 27 points on the season, still 11 ahead of the Galaxy. I think the other thing that's important to take away from this match and to look forward to moving forward is that you have some of your guys that were expected to be big-time contributors, the Edwin Cerrillos, the Julian Audes, the Lucas Sanabrias, those guys that aren't the big names on the back of the jersey. They're starting to contribute the way that I think Greg Vanney expected them to much, much earlier in the season. And now you combine that with a clearly informed Gabriel Peck, a healthy Joseph Paintsel on that opposite side. And who knows, you get Ricky Pooch back at the end of August, maybe early September, and some crazy things can happen. Anything can happen at the bottom of the MLS table, but I think the Galaxy, they've got some experience in pushing for the playoffs. That being said, speaking of experience, how about our good friends at National Core? National Core, one of the nation's largest nonprofit affordable housing developers, and of course, a proud sponsor of your MASL team, the Empire Strykers. At National Core, they believe that soccer has the power to transform lives just like they do. They believe in building strong communities on and off the field. And to learn more about National Core and their mission, head on over to nationalcore.org. Empire Strykers, it blows me away, Tim. The massive youth soccer camp that is about to take place in the Inland Empire. It's free. It's incredible. Going to try to get to over 2,000 kids. They're already at 1,500 in the door. What an incredible opportunity for this massive youth soccer camp out in the Inland Empire.
It is one of the neatest things that I've seen in a very long time from one of the professional soccer teams in the Southern California region. To have this type of press coverage from this type of youth from the community getting together and learning from professionals. You've got Marco Fabian is going to be there. Head coach Anul Obasi is going to be there. You're going to have half of the Strykers team is going to be there or more. And like you said, they're already got 1,500 registered. They're aiming for close to 2,000. And this thing comes up in just a couple of weeks, and this thing is going to be awesome. I mean, let's talk about it even more, Scarf. I mean, you've seen these guys go out and coach. I've seen them go out and coach. If you're a kid under the age of, 14, 12, 10, 8, you got to go to this thing. It's unbelievable.
Tim, I'm 42. I want to get out there and play with all these guys. Are you kidding me? I think it would be incredible. Marco Fabiano, Nua Obasi, the Miracle Man, Jack Downer. Don't forget, register for this soccer camp. They're trying to get to 2,000 people. They're already at over 1,500. Register at theempirestrykers.com/Strykers soccer camps. I'm going to say that one more time, theempirestrykers.com/Strykers soccer camps. And don't forget, it's Strykers with a Y, STRYKERS. An incredible opportunity. Just another example of the Strykers giving back to the community, making sure that everyone can participate in this beautiful game, regardless of background, regardless of social or economic status. We're trying to get them to grow their skills, build confidence, make lasting memories. Head on over again to theempirestrykers.com/Strykers soccer camps. Let's take a look, Tim, at 3 players. We're going to go in the rear view here for just a minute, looking at 3 players' seasons and what we hope maybe to get for them next season. The first, you never forget your first season, right? MASL rookie Polo Hernandez, the midfielder, 7 assists in 14 regular season matches, but all he did was double down in the playoffs, 2 assists in his 1 match. It's got to be great to have that kind of midfield depth, getting experience throughout the course of the season, so that when you plug them in a playoff match, they give you 2 assists. A really solid first campaign for Polo Hernandez.
I would agree with you there, Scarf. When you can average a half a point a game and you're a rookie, fresh coming into the league, I mean, not everybody can come in and look like Marco Fabian and get the golden boot, but the reality is you put a kid in like this he gets into 14 games. Gets into more than half the season, and he's got 7 assists. I mean, this is incredible for a guy that can come in and make an immediate impact. It's one of the reasons I believe that the Strykers were pushed into that playoff spot, because you have rookies come in like this that can make such an impact so quickly.
And look, if you've ever been out to any indoor soccer game, please get out to Toyota Arena. Check out the Empire Strykers. You're going to see player after player subbing on, jumping over that wall, getting minutes. You need depth. You need players like Polo Hernandez so that you can keep your starting midfielders, your starting strikers fresh. And he had, again, a fantastic rookie campaign, looking to build on that in 2025, 2026. A player who absolutely built on that, having his best season in Major League Soccer, would be Abdul Mansoure, the veteran forward. 11 goals, 5 assists on the season. And I think, Tim, one of the moments that you and I remember most, that incredible comeback, down 6-1 to up 7-6, thanks to a hat trick, by Abdul Mansoure.
Yeah, Abdul took care of this. He took over that game. Si60, the captain, goes down with an injury, and Abdul Mansoure just says, "All right, boys, get on my back. They're big enough. They're strong enough. My shoulders are going to carry us into a victory." And he drives them to get up 7-6. His second goal was just a thing of beauty. And I went down from the press box because I wanted to be with the fans, and I went down. I'm 5 rows off the thing, and I'm screaming and yelling like everybody else. It was amazing. He's a big dude, and he's one of these guys that, again, he's able to bring, in this particular case, 7,000 fans to their feet, and they're jumping up and down, and the electricity in that arena, I haven't felt that in a very, very long time.
It was, look, to have the captain go down in his final match, the air was taken completely out of the building. And then what Abdul Mansour did, you mentioned putting the players on his back. You're absolutely right, Tim. It felt like he put all 7,000 in the arena that night on his back. To me, probably my favorite series of moments throughout the season in any one particular match. And what we know is that Onua Obasi absolutely loves Abdul Mansour. Said he could be a star in this league. Look, he was off to a great start, 16 goal contributions last season, expecting a lot more this next one from the veteran forward. You talk about a player, the local product from Fontana, who took not just a step, not just a leap, but we are talking an Olympic-style long jump forward, going from 3 contributions in 23-24 to 13 last season. That's midfielder Randy Martinez. Much like Macho Man Randy Savage flying off the top rope, Randy Martinez providing that grit, providing that energy, but also that calm out there on the pitch in the midfield at Toyota Arena. Talk about the season that Randy Martinez had.
Yeah, he comes into this after having played 16 games the season before, but he gets into 20 games this last season. And you mentioned it, 13 goal contributions, including 7 goals. For to come in, to have Randy come in like that, it took so much pressure off of guys like Stinson and Si60 and Mansour and Marco Fabian, that they didn't have to go out and score 30, 40 goals in a season. They didn't have to carry the team. When you can get another midfielder like this that you can kind of plug in and say, okay, you understand the game now, here's what we're going to do. And Coach Obasi brings them in and says, okay, we're going to change up your playing style a little bit, the whole structure of the team. Here are the tactics we're going to do. And for somebody to get it immediately, really, really a strong contributor for the Strykers next year. And big things are going to look for him for this year too.
Yeah, local boy again from Fontana. He wasn't just jumping over the wall. He was running out at the start of matches because he was in the starting lineup for so many of those 20 matches that he played in this last season. So Randy Martinez, look, now that he's taken the leap, right, it's going to be interesting to see what he's able to do to build on that in 25-26. We mentioned her at the top of the broadcast. We mentioned her at the middle, a little bit of the middle of the broadcast, but Evelyn Shores, I said this earlier, signing with ACFC might not even be the coolest thing she's ever done. She scored a goal to win $1 million, won the Natty Championship at UNC, and Gunnar Burnt got to sit down with her in what is a fantastic interview, Tim. Let's cue up that interview, and let's hear what she's got to say.
All right, I'm here now with a brand new midfielder for Angel City. She's a Georgia native with a fascinating story. A longtime U.S. Youth International, including at the U-23 level at only 20 years old, I believe, right? She suffered a severe injury in college in her freshman year, came back well into her sophomore year, and then went on to win a national championship. She decided to play last month in TST, that's the most interesting part to me of your story, and went on to score the game-winning goal in the final for the U.S. women team. And now she's with us. Welcome to LA, Evelyn Shores.
Thank you.
So, as I said, your story is somewhat unusual, right? You were hurt for a long time, then you win the national title, you play TST, you score the winner in the final. All of a sudden, you're announced by Angel City. Can you kind of walk us through how that opportunity came about and what made Angel City attractive for you?
Yeah, so I definitely have had an unusual journey. I came back in November or like late October from my ACL and was like luckily won the national championship with my team at UNC. It was like the most insane experience. And so I trained throughout the spring, played in the spring games, went to a couple like U-23 camps, and Heather O'Reilly offered me the opportunity to play in TST, and I was like, duh, like that sounds so fun.
Yep.
And it's like a 77 tournament, so it was just really fun to be a part of and really awesome to play with those girls. And I went to Germany with the U23s, and I ended up scoring the game-winning goal in like the first game. And I think throughout this semester and seeing me come back, Angel City was like interested in me, and so I came out here to visit right after TST, I think. And yeah, that's what I was talking about in the press conference. It just like felt amazing when I came. It felt like home, and I am excited to buy into what Alex wants to build here. And yeah, it just felt like the right decision for me right now.
Awesome. So you've been here for a little while. You've trained a few times.
2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks.
I
Okay,
think
that's
2 weeks.
That's a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
What are first impressions of your teammates, the coaching staff, the facilities? What can you say about that?
Yeah, everybody has been so welcoming. The girls have been amazing, and I feel like people have really taken me in and like showed me around, and I feel a lot more comfortable this week, especially. The whole staff is amazing, from the coaches to like all of the support staff. Everybody's just been super welcoming of me. I think training has been looking good. I feel like we're all like getting on the same page, and all of us new players are learning like what Alex wants, and training has been super fun to be a part of. Especially today was like my first full training with no like restrictions, so that was fun to be a part of. And it was good to go to Bay this weekend and get my first like travel trip like out of the way. And so yeah, I think it's been a great experience so far. Finally moved into my apartment, and
that's important.
Yeah. All my stuff finally arrived. My car is here, so I've been feeling a lot more like welcomed here.
Yeah, the car is very important in Southern California.
Very important.
You don't feel at home unless you have your car with you, for sure.
Definitely.
Now you're coming into a little bit of a unique situation. We're in the middle of this not in the middle, toward the tail end of this really long break in NWSL play. I would imagine it must feel a little bit like a preseason that you're coming into, but you're really already halfway through the season, and a few teams have a head start on you. So you kind of feel like you're starting a season, but you need to make up some ground and get back into the playoff picture. Is this one of the more unusual situations that you've been in as an athlete?
Yeah, it's definitely unique. I think like coming in at this time, it's kind of around like when college preseason was going to start, so it doesn't feel like super out of the ordinary from a training perspective. I just think I'm going to be a sponge over the next couple months, just learning as much as I can. Like in this league, obviously I'm a new player in the league, so I don't know much about this like break period. But yeah, for me coming in as a player, it doesn't feel like too unusual. It's definitely like just a unique situation all around, especially for our team, like with Alex coming in. But I think it's a great time for us to just regroup and like go into the second half of the season as a team. And I have good expectations for us coming out of this break. So
now you're not only coming into a new club, you're coming into a whole new environment, right? North Carolina and Georgia are very different from Southern California. How are you enjoying Greater LA, SoCal so far, and what are some things that you're excited about off the field?
Yeah, so the first night I got here, I went to the beach. So that was,
of course,
living 30 minutes away from the beach is like amazing. I love going to the beach, and like growing up in Atlanta, we're like not anywhere near a beach, so this is definitely a change. I think the biggest change for me is that there's no thunderstorms, there's no rain. Like it was cloudy yesterday for my off day, and I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. It's cloudy for a day, but yeah, I think that's the biggest change for me is like being close to the beach, and there's so many great restaurants that I've been to. Like I don't think I've had one bad experience so far. And also like when I would go to the mall and stuff, everybody's just so nice. Like everyone seems so much happier here.
It's the sun.
It's the sun, I think. Yeah.
And I'll push back a tiny bit. We actually had a drizzle yesterday.
Oh, you did?
We consider that rain. Other parts of the country don't. We consider that rain. But I want to go back just really quickly to TST for a minute, if you don't mind. I wonder obviously, a big name reaching out to you, that helps, right? But it's a unique decision to make. So kind of, what was your decision-making process in that? And then also, Did you think about initially that, oh, hey, I can't share in this prize money if we win because of eligibility rules for college, right? Was that on your mind at all?
No, that was definitely not on my mind at all going into it. I was just honestly excited to be a part of that team. Like, it was a great opportunity, and 77 it's something that I'd never experienced before, so it was like, why not? Why would I not try it and see if it's like fun?
Yep.
And obviously you're playing with Ali Krieger, Carly Lloyd, like all these people like who you've watched growing up with. So I just think like it was a great experience, and also I was intrigued by the 77 because I think it's fun and the subbing rules, and like yeah, I just think being a part of that team, especially like it was one of the quickest like cohesive teams I've ever been a part of, if that makes sense. Like we all met each other and we played the next day and everything clicked like so quickly, and I think that's just comes from like all the experience of the players who invited me to play. So yeah.
Amazing. Quickly wanted to touch on the injury that you suffered in college. They say sometimes you don't know who you are until you face adversity. What would you say that experience taught you about yourself, and did it maybe even change you as a player and or as a person?
I think 100% I would not be the same person I am right now if that didn't happen to me. I actually haven't really talked about it like too much. I think just being away from the game for so long, it makes you like appreciate it that much more. Like when you do get an opportunity to come back, and I had kind of like a rocky journey like back to the field, and so with every high, like I felt like super high, and then every low just felt super low. I think that's the first time in my life like I've kind of felt like that big swing of emotions, because like one day it could be going great and the next like it's not. I think yeah, definitely just coming back now, it's like I spend a lot more time recovering and like taking care of my body. I think it's something that's like very important for me, especially also like taking mental breaks, like trying to get my mind off of it. But yeah, I think it just makes me appreciate it so much more, and being on the field. I think anyone who's had a long-term injury can relate to that. I think it's hard to watch your team train, and it's hard to not be a part of it. And so when you do get the chance again, it's like you want to be a part of everything you can, you know.
So you're a very happy camper right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so happy right now. And coming back and like going to the national championship was such a surreal experience. And I was like, we had chatted about redshirting a few times, like me and my sports science staff, and I just was like, I know this team can do it. I'm not redshirting. Like I want to be a part of this. I want to help in any way that I can, even if I'm playing 15 minutes, like coming off the bench. Like I want to be a part of this. And I mean, the team did it. We went all the way, and I ended up playing 10 games, which was great. And I had the possibility of literally playing 2 games in the season.
Yeah.
So I took a big chance like on that team because I had so much trust in them, and we were so like close with each other, and I knew I wanted to be a part of it. So yeah, I think the biggest thing that I learned from being injured for so long is just like take advantage of the moments that you are healthy and you are available. It's like there's going to be highs and lows obviously to your days, but I think the biggest thing for me to look at is like, wow, I'm healthy, I'm playing professionally, this has been my dream since I was a kid. And I think taking that step back just makes this so much more like, it makes me feel so much more gratitude to be like where I am, if that makes sense.
Now we've talked about college, we've talked about Angel City. Another team that you've been on is the U-23 national team. You played, and add to the list if I'm missing anybody, but I believe you've played with Riley Tiernan and Savvy King on the U-23s, right?
Yes.
I mean, Savvy obviously not being actively in training at the moment, but how has it helped transitioning to this team, knowing somebody on the team, someone that you've shared the field with?
Yeah, it's definitely been nice having Riley here. She's been super welcoming, and like we went to the players ball together, so that was fun. And also Savvy and I were at UNC together, and we played together my freshman year.
Yep.
So seeing Savvy around when she's around is like so awesome. It feels like they both make it feel a lot more like home, and like I'm a part of the environment, if that makes sense. But I really do think like all of the girls have been great about it. They answer all my questions and everything. I feel right, like I fit right in. So
Amazing.
and that's all credit to them.
Yeah, great. Yeah. A lot has been made. I only have a couple more questions for you. A lot has been made of your versatility and unpredictability. You touched on it in the press conference, in the introductory press conference, that you've played a bunch of different positions. You're able to play defensively. You're able to play more of an attacking role. I'm sure your answer is going to be, because it always is, I'll do whatever the team needs me to do and what the coaches need me to do. But how do you see yourself as a player, and do you have a favorite position?
You're right. I mean, like, I think my favorite part about the game is just the game. Like, I love playing soccer,
Right.
and so this sounds like
No, it's all
cliche
good.
now, but
Yeah.
like anything I can do to help the team, and like anywhere that I fit into the system and where Alex thinks that I should be in the system, I trust. And so I think, I mean, going back to the injury thing, it's just so fun to play soccer now. Like, it's so fun to be a part of the team. So anywhere that I can fit in, like, I'm happy to play there, you know?
Yep. No, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And then the final question for you. I know it's really early on, and you're getting used to new teammates, new system, new coaching staff. But have you thought at all about what, once the season picks back up, have you thought about goals for yourself individually? I want to score this many goals. I want to log this many minutes, and for the team.
Yeah, I think my biggest goal for me at this point is just to learn as much as I can, so I can be the best teammate I can be, and also like help like on the field if I can. Like, I think that's my biggest goal over the next 6 months, because this is like a long-term plan, and I think just learning the most I can is going to help me like in the long run. And also, sorry, what was the second half of your question?
Just with the team, playoffs, what's something
Yeah.
that
I think obviously, like, learning a new system, we're gonna have some highs, some lows, and I think over the next 6 months, just trying to get results and like trying to implement what we're learning over the next couple of years is gonna be our biggest goal. I think obviously, like, learning takes time, and so some people learn faster than others. Some people are on different pages, and so I think as the season goes on, if we can just help like get onto the same page, I think it's gonna help us a lot moving forward. And I think, like, with this break and us having so many meetings and trainings and everything, we're already getting onto the same page. So I think if we can click before, like, when the season comes and like as the season moves on, it's going to be a good time for us.
Amazing. Well, with your interesting, unique story, and with everything you've already been through, I have no doubt that you'll accomplish those goals. And I'm getting a really good vibe from you. I think the teammates will speak as positively about you as you speak about your teammates. So all that's left to say is good luck for the season.
Thank you.
And it's great to have you here in LA. Welcome again, and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
I mean, I don't know if it gets better than that. Gunnar, fantastic job on the interview. Such a cool signing for Angel City. Part of that youth movement that we were able to talk with Kevin Baxter about a couple episodes ago. Lots going on in the world of Angel City, and we're going to try to get through it pretty quickly. First of all, signing the German defender Sarah Dorson through 2026 from Frauen Bundesliga club Eintracht Frankfurt. Undisclosed transfer fee, international roster spot. All she's done, Tim, is play on 2 World Cup rosters, 2019 and 2023 for Germany, win an Olympic bronze medal, win a silver in the Euros. But I love most the quote from our new coach, Alex Strauss. Every time we played her at Bayern, she gave us problems. So I am happy that she is now on our roster, and I look forward to her arrival. Sarah Dorson coming to Angel City.
Yeah, if you can't beat them, join them, right? That's
Right.
one of the things. I mean, I think that is a great quote from Coach Strauss, is that he can come in and he recognizes the level of play that he wants to get Angel City to. And we've been talking about this as soon as Coach came in. How much of that European influence would he bring with him?
Yeah.
And we've seen it there's a lot. You know, we had Hannah on a couple of weeks ago, their new goalkeeper. She came over from Europe, right, from Denmark. And it's one of these things where he's seeing that talent and he wants to bring that in and bring that speciality, that extra oomph into Angel City. And he's doing it very, very quickly.
Yeah, speaking of extra oomph, re-signing 18-year-old forward Casey Fair to a 3-year deal. and then promptly loaning her to Swedish side Djurgårdens IF. But we'll unpack that on another episode. But I think it's a matter of keeping talent in-house. It seems like Alex Strauss likes her a lot more than the previous regime did, as she's actually gotten some playing time recently and looked very good doing so. It's important to remember she's earning more minutes with the South Korean women's national team than she is at times with Angel City. I mean, look, they signed her at what, 15, 16 years old, super young. She's still cutting her teeth both in this league and on the international stage at the same time. So happy to have Casey Fair back in on a 3-year deal, which means she'll finally be legal in order to grab a beverage at a bar. By the time this contract ends, she'll have played 5 years with Angel City before she could do that. But I think the fun thing I want to touch on real quick too, Tim, is July 26th at BMO Stadium. Carolina Ascent. No, you didn't miss an NWSL expansion club. This is a USL Super League team coming into BMO Stadium to play a friendly. You've mentioned they've been off for 6 weeks now. Best record in the USL Super League this past season. They won the Players' Shield. It's going to be a fun friendly July 26th at BMO Stadium.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. And for us to be able to go see them, see the Ascent is going to be really fun because most people don't get to see the women's USL team. There's nothing local. So
yeah, and that'll be coming off of that 1-1 draw against Bay FC, which another positive result for them, trying to get things going in the right direction. I'm very proud of my co-host Tim because I know he's been champing at the bit to get to what has to be maybe their best match of the season. He's not just a super fan; he bleeds orange for Orange County Soccer Club. Tim Kolatz, let me ask you about the 4-0 drubbing of the Las Vegas Lights at the Champ. Exactly what the doctor ordered. You mentioned it the last time you and I talked. They needed more from Zubak, more from War, more goals, more aggression, more everything. Look, it's a little bit easier to do it if you got 10 men on the other side, but that's neither here nor there. Talk about the offense in this 4-0 win.
Well, we talked about it last week. Speed right. Kills. And especially at this level, and especially against a team like Vegas, who is a tougher team to play against. They possess the ball very well, but they're a little bit slower than Orange County. Orange County has got 3 of the fastest guys in the league on their team, with Mohamedou War, Ethan Zubak, and then you've got a game controller in the middle with both Chris Hagart and Ousmane Silla. And this game was amazing. From the get-go, from the first whistle, Orange County was much more aggressive. I sat on the sunny side of the street on this one because I got to sit a little lower. I didn't want to sit in the presser, right? So you could feel the energy. It was a sold-out show. There were 5,500 screaming maniacs in the Champ, and it was awesome. And these are the things that when we look at Orange County, you really look at what needs to happen. And we called out Zubak last week. We called out War last week on the show that they needed to get the ball more. And Mohamedou War makes us all look really, really smart because within the first 15 minutes, you've got Ethan Zubak getting into the penalty box and a PK. And this is all because of speed. And then here's the interesting thing on the PK is that the initial shot doesn't go in. It's saved by the goalkeeper. But because Zubak is faster than the other dudes coming in, he buries the rebound. The guys go up within 20 minutes. They're up 2-0. There was a red card, but that red card was specifically because of the aggression. And Vegas was trying to beat up Orange County, that a lot of teams have done this year, and they were smart about it. The guy pushed one of our dudes over. Red card, see you later, adios. Well, right before halftime, Mohamedou War gets on the end of a beauty of a pass from Silla and buries it one time, and it's 3-0 at halftime. And Orange County, they don't play keep away in the second half. They fight for that ball, and there's seven cards, 8 cards between the two teams over the course of the game. So Orange County didn't back down at all, Scarf, this entire game.
And I appreciate the modesty when you say he made a lot of people look good, Mohamedou War. No, you called for Mohamedou War to do some things for Orange County Soccer Club. And lo and behold, my friend, you called it right. Very, very well done. Also, by the way, a goal by friend of the podcast, Chris Hagart, who we've had on episodes prior. So make sure you check out that old interview with Chris Hagart, because that's the guy who scored the 4th goal for Orange County Soccer Club. And look, we also mentioned this being exactly what the doctor ordered, because back into the playoff picture, go OCSC. Here's the thing: with the goal, they move with the win, they move from 10th or 11th, I think, going in to 8th now in the playoffs. But they are just 5 points from 3rd place. You mentioned 5,500 strong at the champ. If they can mess around, go on a little bit of a win streak. Now, they've got one match against the Oakland Roots coming up in the Jägermeister Cup. That's on Saturday in Oakland. Tim, I imagine you expect some roster rotation in that one before taking on Phoenix Rising. And this match against Phoenix Rising, 3 points ahead in the standings, a couple of spots up in the standings. This, my friends, is a good old-fashioned 6-pointer if I've ever heard of one. Wednesday, July 30th at the Champ.
Yeah, and this thing's going to be a Donnybrook, because Phoenix has always played Orange County very, very tough, and they did something very similar to what Orange County did when they went on the run to the Cup a couple of seasons ago in the playoffs. They barely made it in, and Phoenix went all the way to the Cup final. So the team that is just a couple of spots up on them, like you said, this is going to be a great matchup. And if you don't know yet and you don't have your tickets yet, I've got the deal of the day for you, because it is a buy one ticket, get your second ticket free. And so you only have to pay $7.50 for a ticket. When you buy, you buy 2 of them, it's $15 to get in. And at that price, get the extra hot dog. It's a Wednesday. It's a cheat day. Don't worry about it. But it's going to be a great game. Get out to the Champ. It's going to be amazing to go see these guys coming off such a strong win. And then there will be some roster turnover for this Jägermeister Cup against Oakland. It'll be a fun game to watch, but it'll be up in Oakland.
Right. Jägermeister Cup, combining USL Championship and USL League One, doesn't count towards USL Championship standings, which is why we expect a little bit more roster rotation there in the Jägermeister Cup. By the way, beautiful kits by Oakland Roots every single season, so make sure you check those out. And with that, it is time for my favorite segment, for maybe the most controversial segment, and a segment that Tim gets to participate way more in this week than he got to last. No members of Orange County Soccer Club on the best 11 last week. I count 5 on the best 11 for this week. Goalkeeper Colin Schuttler for his performance against Las Vegas Lights. Ryan Dogman for his performance against Las Vegas Lights. Chris Hagar, Ousmane Silla for their performance against Las Vegas Lights in the midfield, and forward Mohamedou War for his performance against Las Vegas Lights. It was a 4-1 drubbing, and oh, by the way, wearing the captain's armband is the man you see pictured there in Chris Hagart. Rounding out the best 11, 3 members of the Galaxy, 3 members of LAFC. Maya Yoshida for his performance against LAFC for the Galaxy, and Ryan Hollingshead for his performance against Galaxy for LAFC. Interesting choice there on the back line. Rounding out the midfielders, Marco Royce for the Galaxy against LAFC, and Marky Delgado for LAFC against the Galaxy. And Gabriel Peck and Denis Bawanga. And if you don't know who those guys play for, you're not watching enough soccer in 60. No games for Angel City, no games for Empire Strikers, so don't come at us why there's no players on the pitch for them. Can I ask you real quick, knowing that he cost LAFC a penalty shot with the hand raised in the box for no reason, I'm a little surprised to see Ryan Hollingshead on the best 11. That's coming from me, Tim.
Yeah, I'm surprised at it too. He did play a great rest of the game, but when you're, asking the teacher to go to the, hey, I know the answer to question number 5 when you're in the penalty box, what are you doing? I mean, there was no reason for him to be flopping his left arm like he did. So I'm rather surprised to see him on here as well, Scarf.
And see, our producer, our creative director, Gunnar here, he's in the chat, by the way. He says he has really good underlying stats. You go ahead and explain that to any of the black and gold faithful at BMO Stadium, Gunnar, and let me know how that conversation goes for you. I know probably the person who was most upset, by the way, about what happened was Ryan Hollingshead. I mean, he was pissed at himself at the end of it. So I do feel bad for the guy. He's an absolute stand-up human. Let's talk real quick about the midfield. I know you really loved, not necessarily Chris Hagar, although he did perform very, very well, but you had a lot of good things to say about Ismane Silla as well.
Yeah, I think he was the man of the match. The way he just took over from that opening kickoff until he was subbed out late in the second half, he dominated that midfield. And every time you're just watching the game, and every time the ball is just gravitating towards him, Nico Ben Alcazar was getting it to him. He was passing off to, Silla was passing off to Zubac. He's just making the right plays. And then the play that he had to get the assist on the Mo War third marker for the half was just it. It was an amazing feat of brilliance just by getting the ball about half field and then running down about 20 yards and just putting it right about the 16 yards out. And Mo Ward he had an open net. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I think Denis Bouanga maybe with the highlight goal of the week, the 80-yard dash after I think he was trying to pass it to Nathan Ordaz at first, but the ball just a little wide. So Denis said, all right, you know what? I'm going to take care of it myself. Don't worry. But neither keeper, obviously, in that match, 3-3, having a great match. So Colin Schuttler for OCSC getting the nod. I think he only had to make, one save in that victory. Yep. But you know what? You make the one save, you get the clean sheet, and you make the best 11 on Soccer in 60.
That's why they call him Shutout Schuttler. He has got the most wins. He's got the most shutouts in Orange County Soccer Club history. And he's just a good dude. We've talked to him a few times. We've had him on the show last season when he got the game winner, that it was the first goalie goal in 10 years in the USL Championship. Just a great dude, and it's fun to see him getting back on the on that shutout run.
And I want to apologize for all the Galaxy listeners. My LAFC was showing for a second there. Of course, the best goal of the week was Maya Yoshida's at the death against LAFC. I apologize. I know. Keep the letters coming at LAFC_the scarf. I know I brought that one upon myself. But what we also got to bring upon ourselves is another fantastic episode of Soccer in 60 with my man Timmy K on the ones and twos. This, again, is your friendly neighborhood scarf. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast Soccer in 60, brought to you by SAC Health. And don't forget, join us again next week for the fastest soccer podcast in SoCal. This